Hello, and welcome to this edition of The Spiritual Dad. In today's edition, Melissa and I are going to talk about being in the moment. Those who haven't met Melissa before in previous videos, Melissa is my good friend and a spiritual healer. Also works in sound bowls and sound therapy and things along those lines that we just get off on different tangents all the time in conversation, and therefore bringing you in to our conversations. And this reference is, again, being in the moment. Hello, Melissa.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Excellent. Yourself?
I'm good. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
So, being in the moment, what does that mean to you?
Oh my gosh. First, what I want to say about being in the moment is that is one of the hardest things to do in society right now. It is hard in this world to be in the present moment. And so it is a practice, and it's not something that happens overnight. It is something that you commit to as like a daily healthy practice that could just start with 2 minutes or even like a 30-second pause, bringing you into me. Where am I? I'm here and sitting in a chair. And so it's that I wanted to say it's hard, but it's also that simple. And so there's a dance here, and it is a dance. It is a back and forth. There will be moments when you are achieving it and others where you're not. And one of the key points to that is awareness. Being aware of where you are in your head, aware of in your space, what's around you, and your senses, and those sorts of things help you bring you into the present moment. But I just wanted to start with that because personally, I see and I watch a lot of spiritual leaders that I learn from, and I see Instagram posts and that sort of thing, and it's like, be in the present moment, be in the present moment. And I have to it has to be very simple to me in the way it's explained, and I have to feel it. And so sometimes when I hear it's like, just be in the present moment, I'm like, what the hell is that? That's hard. Like, what does that mean? And then it's really hard sometimes. So I just want to start with the realness of it, But it is certainly possible. And it is so significant in how we feel peace in our lives, because it is the peace within that creates the peace without. And so that's where we begin.
Well said. In conjunction with what you just expressed, being in the moment for me means taking that step, that decision to step back from where you are in that moment and realize that it's time to take a breath, to be aware, to be sensitive to everything around you, and to truly appreciate even the rough and the tough for what it is.
I mean, being in the present moment is being with you in where you're at. And that could mean you're angry. That could mean you're happy. That could mean you're sad. It's being in your self and your emotions, being open to letting those surface and happen without holding it in, because you're holding back energy, that can get stuck inside of you if you try to bypass the moment, not feel what's happening in the moment. That catches up to you over the long run, and it can make you sick too. So,
and as you practice being in the moment, you are able to then practice making a choice in that moment.
Yes, the best possible choice in that moment if you're present in it. Yeah.
And the best choice may be an action that is difficult.
Yes.
But it is the right choice because you've actually considered it, and you're making doing a response versus a reaction in the way to approaching life.
Yes. And being in the present moment is, like I said, is like being with you in the moment, and your body is your best guide. Like your body, and that might be like how your stomach feels, how your chest feels. Like those are messages from your body for protection and love for yourself and your wellness and your best possible potential outcome. And so it allows you to listen to those messages, and that is your greatest guide, and go into your heart, because, I love the saying. It's, I think with your heart-centered decisions, and love with your mind, which is putting those into action. That's how I interpret that quote.
Think with your heart, love with your mind.
Love with your mind. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like create that love, your mind, like create
the
that
action.
Yeah, the action of love. This is where the thought begins to create what the action could be, right? So like in a moment of hardness with yourself, if you go into your heart and say, what do I need right now? And you're like, I'm struggling. I could really use a hug. And that action then becomes, that love becomes action. I'm going to give myself a hug, and it's going to get me where I can get to a place where I have compassion for myself. And then there'll be multiple times where it could be compassion for others, where you might have made a different choice, catching that anger and being in the present moment and feeling it, and then having the awareness of what happens when you act on it and just you respond, you react with that emotion versus taking a breath and then responding, which might be, I'm going to walk out of the room and take a deep breath and come back tomorrow. It's like not sending that email when you're angry, give it 24 hours, like that type of ability to make the most loving choice for you and someone else.
That's a good point, actually. Capturing something but not sending it. Even if it's in the moment, capturing your feeling, your thought, your anger, whatever it might be, and not reacting with that, but instead responding with either no response or a well thought out, compassionate, for both you and the receiver,
right,
response.
And that takes some practice. So I'll speak for myself. I was in a place in my life 5 or so years ago where I was angry, and I was angry because I had not listened to myself and put up the boundaries. And so I was angry, and I didn't like who I was. I was like, I don't want to be angry. And I picked up a book by Thich Nhat Hanh about anger, which helped me. And then I started doing meditation, which is like stillness. And then you become aware of your thoughts, and it allows you to create space. Like that stillness kind of lets your heart open and your brain not shut off, but recognize the thoughts, those actions that you could take, and you can make a choice of what action you want it to be, right? And so that you can respond differently versus just immediately react, which is what I was doing all the time. And I was not happy.
You felt like
about who I was.
You felt like you had no choice in the matter.
Right. And it's like, you can blame it on other people. You made me feel this way. You made me feel that way. And really, no one can make you feel any way. Your pent up emotions, the patterns from behavior in the past, or what you've learned, may program you to do that. And you actually have the ability to deprogram that. But the first step in doing that is being in the present moment, is being present, is bringing yourself to the moment and being aware of what's going on.
Taking that moment.
Yes. So, and really, I think the best one is in feeling your feeling and taking a deep breath. How is this making me feel? What is this, emotion? And knowing and being present with it.
Phrasing, I often will look back on a phrase, an old phrase. What does that mean? Take a moment. Take the moment. And literally it means to take it, to have control over it.
Yeah. Because in every moment there's opportunity, infinite opportunity, infinite choices. And by being intentional, instead of reacting, but being intentional and choosing that choice in that moment, is how you create your life. That's how you bring in the beauty and the love and the peace that you want in. It's through your ability to realize you have a choice and say, am I going to be the victim in this moment? Or am I going to look at this and say, where is the opportunity and the challenge? This is happening for a reason. And I could be angry about it, or I could say, ooh, this just opened up to me because that didn't happen. That sort of thing.
You bring up a good point, and that is the opportunity in the moment.
Yes.
With any negative, there's an opposite side, chaos
Right.
balance of the opportunity.
Yep.
So instead of just recognizing the negative and falling into that trap and going down that rabbit hole,
yep.
Okay, great. It's been put there for a reason, for me to learn about something.
Right.
What am I learning in this moment? What can I take from this moment that betters me?
Yes.
And my situation, perhaps those around me.
Yes. And so I think about this like when I having kids and living a life of like taking care of others and being on the busy like train, you know, and it was almost like a badge. The busier you were, the more whatever you were, right?
Right.
And being in a space where like if one of my kids was being difficult or having a hard time, like yelling at them, right? You know, like being like, hey, you know, like, or whining or whatever, maybe not showing up. Like when someone is when a child is like that, it's usually because they're in some kind of pain or challenge, right? And what do we need when we're in pain and challenge? Do we need someone yelling at us?
No.
Or do we need compassion and maybe a hug or a tell me what's going on for you right now, or let's take a breath together. And so creating some stillness in your life to be able to recognize that in the moment. And that my anger was my reaction to it. My love was my response to it. And that's who I want to be. That's who I want to be. And we're never going to be perfect at it, but you can not have your emotions get so big and you are reactive to things that you are, you catch it sooner and you don't let it control you as much.
By definition, emotional awareness.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, I can honestly say as a parent myself, there were many times I wish I had greater emotional awareness in the moment.
Yeah.
To have that compassion and saying, my child's having a rough time right now. Yeah. They don't need me to add on to it, to pile on to it.
Right. Right. The other day I was at the hospital with my mom and I was coming out to go into the parking lot to get the car. And no, I was in my car going to get into the parking lot. And there was a crosswalk a little ways ahead and I was driving towards it. And a man came out and he was on his phone and he didn't even look. He just walked right in the crowd. He did not know I was coming. Good thing I was paying attention, right? Mm-hmm. So I slowed down, but I was in the moment and I was like, I'm watching him and I'm like, he is so stuck in what's going on in his phone. And my immediate reaction was like I was kind of like, dude, what the hell? You know, like wake the hell up, you know? But then I was like, this guy is so busy and something is, you know what I mean? Like he's unable to step back and be aware of his surroundings because he is being controlled by something, or, you know, like the need to read or do whatever he's doing in the moment, probably because he's rushing around and he's like, I got to do this while I'm walking. Right. I've been there. I've done it.
Yeah. You don't know his situation.
I don't, but what my observance was there's so many of us like that. Mm-hmm. And the present moment calls for you to be aware and protect yourself, right? To see what's happening around you so you can make good decisions, you know, in the environment around you, being present in the environment around you, right? And we're being challenged every day by being distracted by being in the present moment. And you can see how that can be dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, like that distraction, that rushing. Like I think about it, I'm like, I've rushed a lot and I've been forced in my own journey and protecting my health and getting my health to slow down. And then when I have my health, I feel like myself wanting to do more and do more. And I become very aware of what my body's telling me, that like pressure, that tension, that whatever, rush. And I have noticed in the moments where I don't listen to that, I slip and fall. I drop something. I almost cut my finger, you know, because I am rushing. And when you rush and you're not focused on what you're doing, it can be dangerous. Think about it. This winter is very dangerous because of all the ice we had and the snow. And if you're just like in your head thinking about things and you're not looking at the fact that you're in a driveway where it's snow covered and there could be ice underneath that, you can really get hurt. So anyway, just some real life examples.
You just reminded me of a story. My youngest was telling me that she had a case of the dropsies that day. And the simple reason that she does that, and I've known this about her for many years now, is she gets like rushed, and every action she takes is a little bit faster than it should be.
Yeah.
And so things happen.
Yeah.
And she gets a case of the dropsies. But you remind me of something else as well, and that is, actually choosing to be in the moment. And that's a fantastic practice. Just like meditation, it puts you into a state of relaxation and peace and awareness. You're using all your senses to go ahead and understand what's happening around you. Right. We'll go a little bit in depth of that in just a moment here. Mm-hmm. But, you can live a more passionate life when it comes to being in the moment and you're setting your intentions to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And more at peace.
Yeah.
So like going for a walk in the woods, or just even while you're driving, noticing, especially during springtime, which is hopefully coming soon, you'll see all the different greens of the different trees and scrub brush and everything else. And you start to become aware of this. You start to wake up. Your phone is no longer as important as it once was.
Yep. And I think it's like recognizing the feeling, recognizing like when you're in that moment, how it makes you feel. So you look up and you go, I had this experience with a friend. Oh my God, look at all the different shades of green in the trees. Like it's like this kaleidoscope of greens. And there's like, I don't know how many of them, right? And when you have that realization, it's like your body tingles. Like you just go, and it's peaceful and it's bright. It's like the world's, all of a sudden it went to black and white into color and then technicolor. And you're like, ooh, oh my gosh. So, right. So you recognize how you feel in that moment. And as you do that, those pleasurable things, you also start to recognize when things don't, like having an awareness, for instance, like when I start to go to anxiety and worry, and then I think about what am I doing in that moment? Where is my brain in that moment that I'm feeling that way? And I'm always, it's either I'm worried about the future, I'm worrying, like what if, and then the uncertainty, and if it doesn't happen my way, that's going to suck or hurt or whatever. Or I'm in the past messaging I've gotten that has not been helpful or positive or beneficial for me being able to be my true me. I'm kind of slave to that messaging again. And that brings a whole nother, or the regret of X, Y, and Z, or I should have done that differently, or beating myself up because something didn't happen the way that I want. You start to recognize what's causing those feelings. When you come into the present moment and go, okay, I'm thinking about this and it's making me feel like, and then you go, okay, well, if I just focus on what is happening in the room with me right now, oh my God, I have that piece of toast with avocado that has lemon and salt and fresh tomatoes and an egg on it that's cooked perfectly with a little everything bagel spice from Trader Joe's and some Cholula sauce on it. And I'm taking a bite and I'm like, fireworks, this is delicious, right? In the moment. I'm not thinking about like, oh my God, I got to get my laundry done. I got to get this done. What will get done at the time that it happens is what was supposed to happen. And there's some belief in that, right? Some belief in something that you can't control and letting it flow with that. Because if you try to control everything, well, there you are in worry and doubt and fear.
Well, that brings up the whole concept of the serenity prayer.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm not going to direct quote the prayer, but getting an understanding of what you have control over, which is actually really small. You don't have control over much.
Yeah.
And true control. So you say, okay, well, those things that I can control, let me take action where it makes sense to do so. Don't take action where it doesn't make sense to do so.
Right.
All those things you don't have control over, let them go, because there's no reason to worry about them. You don't have any agency to do anything about it.
Right. Like other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a situational thing, because tomorrow you might have some control, or you can take a step towards control.
Yeah.
Politics, for instance, things happening around the world that we don't agree with. We don't have control of those things. We have control of what we can do towards those things.
Right. Our one little thing in our space that we can do. And sometimes you feel like you can't do anything, but what you can do is love. Send love to you and send love to others. That is actually the strongest thing that we can do. And there are big actions that people take, and there are people that are here to play their roles in the response to this, and the momentum to create positive change in the world. But loving ourselves and loving each other allows us to be able to put those gifts in action. And so that's really where it starts.
I'm going to quickly define loving ourselves and others. It's little things. It's, as you say, the avocado toast.
Yeah, that was breakfast this morning, by the way. It was really good.
But even just spending time in nature, taking a moment, like we're talking about right now, just smiling, because people need a hug, for instance. Little things.
Yeah, it is the littlest thing. It's walking by someone and being like, "Wow, I really like your sparkly shoes." And genuinely mean it. What catches your eye about someone? And it might not be something you love, but you're like, right? So if I see someone and it's like they have bright red hair and I'm like, I would never do that to myself, but wow, it got my attention. They're like, wow, that's great red hair, or like, wow, that looks great on you, or whatever, something that lets a person know that you see them.
Right.
Because think about it, when people do that for you, and this is a great little tip that has worked really well for me and this is another way to like the benefits of being in the present moment and being in engagement. Like if someone, does something for me and I'm like, wow, that felt really good. I really liked when they did that. I'm like, well, go do it for someone else. That pay it forward. Like, and being able to be in the present moment to receive it. And what is it? How does it make you feel? Like those green leaves, how do they make you feel? How do it make you feel when you're walking out of Target and you look over and there's a 2-year-old little girl and she smiles at you and waves? Like, do that to an adult, and adults can do that to each other. Like seeing you and being like, wow, it's nice to see you when I don't even know who you are, like it's, and then so being able to be aware, pay attention to those moments, feel that feeling, and then be like, gosh, I want to spread that. Maybe not anger, but like that love. That's love.
Doing things that make you feel good, because even the smallest things, and in the process of doing that, doing small things for others.
Yeah.
The other day I mentioned, going to a coffee shop, walking with a good feeling about yourself, because it's a great day. Every day is a great day if you allow it to be. Yeah. Then walking to that coffee shop and smiling as you walk in, people look up and they smile too because you're smiling. And if you actually connect with their eyes, most people will smile back.
Yeah.
Some may put their eyes down because they got caught looking.
Right.
and the funniest part is they'll look right back up. But just being in that moment of simple joy.
Yeah.
It's catchy.
Yeah, it is. And I think like being in the moment is focusing on something, and you choose what you focus on. But like when we're talking about the rushing thing before, right? Like if you're focusing on something that you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
And you take your time in it and be in the present moment, you really get to enjoy it. And if you're creating something, like the heart and the soul that goes into it when you're in the present moment, and you just think about like the craft and the skill and the quality, when you're in the present moment, the quality of what you experience and what you can give, if you have something to give, because sometimes you won't, you got to give it to yourself first, is so much better. Like the quality of the attention for your kids, right? Yeah. And being present and really like they know that they're being seen, your friends, your partner, that sort of thing. I think about like being in a conversation with someone and they're doing a million things while I'm talking to them, and how that makes me feel, and probably how it makes most people feel, and being like, okay, I don't like how that makes me feel, so I'm going to communicate in a way and interact where I'm either present or I communicate, I really would love to hear that. but right now I've got to do this, and it's going to make it so I can't be fully present for you. So can we do this another time? Right? I'm not offended. I still feel seen. I recognize that, like, you want to be here for me, but you have something you have to do right now that it doesn't allow it. And it, that's life. But that you have a desire to do it, and then you follow through after, and you have that conversation. You know what I mean?
Give me a moment.
Yeah.
Instead of take a moment, it's give a moment.
Yeah.
You talked about craft, and if you're actually really in the moment with the craft, and how beautiful it is to spend that time on loving yourself, so to speak. You can do the same thing in a hike or a walk. Yeah. Walk through a meadow in late spring. The scents, the smells, the beautiful flowers, the bees, the birds. There is so much going on around you. But if you just took a moment to slowly walk through it and experience all of that, it's really giving yourself a drop of love by being in that moment, being in that energy, and just breathing and just being.
And I do believe that, nature always has messages for us. Mm-hmm. And when you're in the moment, you see them. And you just see a world you may never have seen. I remember walking in a meadow. There's this meadow I walked in for 2 years straight as I was doing my emotional healing, my health healing, and that sort of thing. And it was wonderful. Like, every day something was different. And I did this for 2 years. So I saw the seasons change. I became aware of what flowers were blooming when, and showing up on those days to smell them and that sort of thing. But I do remember a moment when there was a flower. I was on a trail, but there was like longer grass along the edge. And I stopped to bend down to look at the flower. And then I just kind of took in everything around it. And there were dewdrops on the grass. And then there was a snail. And then there was 3 snails. And then there was like literally 50 snails all in that little space. There was a whole snail community right there. I almost stepped on it, right? And I'm like, oh my God, look at the life that exists that we don't even know, that is actually holding this planet together and keeping us alive and trying to nurture us. There's a whole world out there we don't know, and it's beautiful. And then to respect it and then take action to love that too, so.
Excuse me. That's like Horton Hears a Who.
It totally is.
Okay. And that, there's a whole universe in that flower.
Yeah. Yeah. And what the universe, we're maybe a smaller microcosm of a much, we are of a much bigger ecosystem. So the world just becomes magic.
It does.
Like, it does. You start to see it. You see the miracles and the magic that do exist in the world. It's not just what's on TV. It feels magical to you. And gosh, that is better than sitting there stressed out about the spreadsheets I need to go through, and then also it being in the present moment, and then paying attention to your internal compass, right? Allows you to make the best decisions, like, based on how you're feeling. Like, is that warm or cold? That's cold. You know what? It's time for me to say no to that. Like, am I going to do that and then feel resentful about it? Like, I have to do it because of this, that, or that. You start to then get in tune with why you're making the decisions you're making and where they come from. And has that served you? What has your life looked like in the past by making those decisions from those places? And you're like, no, it feels like this. Like, I don't want to do this, and I'm going to do it anyway. And then I'm going to be pissed about it. You know what I mean? And then you start going, oh, I have a choice. And it might take some courage, because the outside world may tell me that decision is selfish. Likely, if it feels selfish, it means it's called self-love, it's self-protection and preservation. But these are the things that come from a practice of awareness and then being able to pull yourself back into the present moment, particularly when you're making decisions and going into your heart and feeling.
So that sounds like a little bit drop of love.
A little drop of love. All these little drops of love add up to an ocean of love.
Yes.
Right? Every little one counts.
And you also covered self-care for a bit there.
Yeah, man. In this practice, so I'm going to do a little
please
side here. Doing what you love, right, usually draws you into the present moment, right? Like, holding your baby and wanting to eat them up and kissing them and smelling them and just, like taking in the sensual experience of that. What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? All of those things, what does it look like? Those are your senses. When you engage your senses, that brings you in the present moment. Like, what do I hear going on? What do I smell? What do I taste? What do I feel? And so that keeps you in the present moment. And when you're doing something you love, that's being in the present moment. Mindfulness, meditation, that is a practice of, it's a practice of helping you more and more be able to be in the present moment. And so for someone who's inspired by what we have to say about being in the present moment, the practice to get there is through stillness, making time to be still. And I know people are like, I can't be still. I can't be still. I'm like, take a deep breath, take 3 deep breaths, start there, right? That's being still and just focusing on breathing. And that, calms down your sympathetic, like your stress response, gets you to a calmer place. And there's a lot of physical and health benefits to that too, but I won't, go down that because that could be a whole nother sit and chat session. But meditation is a practice for helping you start to be aware and start to respond versus react. And then your life changes and you start to see the world around you. And doing what you love is a form of meditation if you're fully present in it, right? So write down what you love and start to do more of that in your life.
Yeah. Make time for you.
Yeah, that's being in the present moment. Make the time and focus on painting, cooking, hiking, music, dancing, chatting with your friends, playing with your nieces and nephews, doing the things you did as a kid that you don't do anymore, laughing, So
I'm going to interrupt real quick. You mentioned as you did as a kid. Yeah. One of my favorite things to do with folks is to actually bring them into their inner child.
Yeah.
And get them to actually play with their inner child. What I mean by that is I literally walk them through a meditation that takes them through all their senses, through usually some sort of cave or darkness where it's not a scary moment. It's just a transition from where they are today into the imaginary world. And that imaginary world is actually their memories. It's bringing them into their situation when they were a little child. What did they do that they found joy? Where did their joy come from? Because as a child, you have joy. Even the roughest times, children seem to find a way to bring joy out, to bring their happiness out.
Yeah.
And so when you can do that and you can bring someone back to that point in time where they say, what did I used to do? I used to play baseball. I used to play with my dolls. I used to run around in circles with my friends, roll, go into the field and pick flowers. The list is really long. For me, it was going into the woods and literally being in the woods and being aware of all the animals and all the entities that were there and truly be in that moment. That was my favorite thing to do as an individual that found peace and happiness within. Of course, playing with friends, riding bikes, kicking, playing soccer, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But where I'm going with this is that inner joy that you used to feel as a child, a lot of us have let that go because we get so busy in life that we forget to actually let that inner child come back out and play. We don't make time for ourselves to play. And one thing about becoming a dad was saying, hey, I get to be a kid again because my kids want me to play. Yeah, I have to get on the ground and be at their level, both physically and emotionally and mentally.
They're in the present moment.
But they are truly in the present moment.
They are. Spend some time with kids.
And when you are in the present moment with them, they appreciate you so very much.
They do. They do. And you know what? It's like this helps both parties. When you are in the present moment with them, they're doing like what we call make-believe, right? their creativity and their imagination, right? And when you do that with them, you're reinforcing as a person that they look up to that what they're doing is real.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's valuable. It's that you're reinforcing that you see them, you love them. If you can do this, like unconditionally. They are in their truest form, when they're their youngest, right? And then we start giving them, and we make them afraid, and you can't do this, and that's dangerous, and all this, and then you start to worry, and that's not present moment. So kids don't come into this world worried,
right?
We teach that to them, but so they're helping us. They're teaching us as adults that, bringing that child alive is going to help you get back to where you were, which was in the present moment, not worried, not rushing, just loving the moment.
Right.
And so, like, they're seen, and then you're seen in the fact that you're like, I was that once.
Mm-hmm.
And how does this feel? And I don't have to let it go as an adult. I can still be like, obviously you have responsibilities, but you can approach those responsibilities in a carefree way, fun. What's the opportunity that I get to do this? I mean, I feel that all the time. Like, oh my God, I got to get up and I got to do my expense report, and I got to do the laundry and some of the things I don't love to do. And then, like, being in the present moment and saying, well, what's the opportunity? I get to do this because I've got a business of my own that I love, and so, like, what do I have? And you see, in the present moment, you're focused on what you have, and the brilliance of it, right? If you're not worrying about the fear, the doubt, the all the other stuff that is taking you out of the present moment.
Why do we go on vacation? To get away from all these things that are stressing us out through the day, and to be in a different environment and escape for a period of time. Why are we on our phones? To escape. Why are we watching TV at night? To escape. How about escaping into life? How about escaping into the moment? How about escaping into what brings you joy instead of trying to get out of what we experience day in, day out?
Why wait for vacation or retirement or whatever it is to live the life you want to live? Right? And obviously, we got to do things to provide for ourselves.
Yeah, society requires.
How do you create the life like you want around you, and that allows you to do that, and also to do the things you love? This is, like, in the present moment when you're sitting with yourself and focusing on those things, and you are aware as you go through the day and the weeks and the months of, like, how does that make me feel? And then you can make decisions to say, I'm going to do more of the things that make me feel good. And how can I look at this as an opportunity versus a hindrance? Like, there's a lot of times where I've had plans to go somewhere with my kids, right? Or friends or whatever that you're looking forward to. And then it gets canceled. And you could be like, oh, I'm so pissed. And, like, it could set off the rest of your day and where you're not happy. Or you could say, oh my gosh, that time just opened up. I can go do this thing that I love to do that I've put off doing because I now have the time. And yeah, I would have loved to do that, but we'll make plans to do that another time. It wasn't meant to be. Like, accepting what the life is bringing and saying, ooh, well, what can I do now that I love to do? Or that's good for me in the moment.
And you bring up the good point, and that is acceptance. This practice of being in the moment is accepting that whatever is there in that moment, it too shall pass. The pro and the con will both.
Great point.
Both will pass it, and then in that moment,
right?
And then you have a choice in that moment to feel the feeling you wish to choose, because it comes from inside. Your happiness, your joy, your love, your anger, your frustration, they all come from inside you. So if you actually take a moment to step back and view the moment, you have a choice. You can respond accordingly.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it also allows you, being in the present moment. I mean, I think about sadness and grief, right? Because being in the present moment, it doesn't mean the moment is always going to be a joyous one.
Right.
But it's allowing for you to have the feelings that you're, as a human, we feel, and learn to sit with them. What is the message it's giving me? Let them move through you so they don't get stuck in you.
Yeah, feel your emotions.
Yes, you have empathy for yourself, right? And that is part of your emotional, your health, your entire being health. Emotional health is one of them, and so I think it's important to know you can suck it down, right? And being like, no, I'm not going to be in the present moment. I'm going to be in the future moment of doing something, so I don't have to deal with what I'm feeling in the present moment.
And big boys don't cry concept.
Yes, and it's like that seems hard and scary for a lot of people because myself, my family, friends, my generation, like you just strong means suck it up and move on, right? And that's a lot of unprocessed emotions.
Yeah.
And it will catch up to you.
Yep.
It will catch up to you. It gets stuck in your body. And Steve and I are both energy healers. Energy, emotions is energy in motion. And when you don't feel them, they get stuck in your heart. They get stuck in your body. And so things don't flow as well as they should. And it starts to cause, breakdown, dis-ease, right? So not feeling things that could feel uncomfortable in the moment can make you very uncomfortable in the future.
So real quick sideline here, and that is that, that concept of your emotions being stored somewhere in your body,
yep,
that happens from day one. That's from even in the womb. And it's what causes our triggers. Our triggers when it comes to how we react to things without even thinking.
Yeah.
And this whole practice of being in the moment with some therapeutic practices, modalities,
yeah,
helps us to go ahead and recognize those things, to stop, be in the moment, feel them, and start to address them as turning them from reactions into responses and to remove the effect they have.
Yeah. They don't control us as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we can make clearer, better decisions and respond.
And it brings peace.
It brings peace. Right. It's not controlling the discomfort.
Right. Yep. Actually being in the moment brings peace. Yeah. Because you're able to take a moment, take a breath, and decide how you wish to be.
Yeah. It brings some clarity.
Yep.
Oh.
So we probably should wrap up this video sometime soon.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, I'm like, this sounds like a great place to say, well, folks, it's time to go.
It is. It is. We're going to have more of these lovely discussions because anytime we spend time together, we should just have the camera on. Because we range all over the place in very good ways and have a lot of fun and get pretty deep at times in these discussions, but always ending off on a good note. And those good notes are because we are in the moment, truly in the moment, and enjoying it. And
I think we are trying to practice what we preach. And that is, we're like, hey, we really enjoy sitting around talking about these topics that we have studied, that we practice, that we guide other people on. Why don't we just turn the camera on and record it so we can share it with more people?
So as we were going through this, we were figuring out that it's actually difficult to be staged on camera. And so we may end up just having some fun going forward and welcome you into our living room, so to speak. So we'll see how this goes. But for now, Steve, the spiritual dad.
Melissa, the sweet soul from Sweet Soul Studio.
And we're going to sign off and wish you guys much love, happiness, and joy from the inside and out. May you have a great rest of your day.
Mwah. Take care.
Take care. Mwah.